We are recording. So welcome. Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, April 20th. This is the morning session for Ag Mechanics. And just as a reminder that we are being recorded and that the purpose of these webinars is for folks to share, ask questions, and sharing can be something as, hey, I tried this, it worked well, or I tried this and it didn't work well. Do you have any feedback? We Through the past week, John and I have found that the more folks even just toss something out there, the more the conversation kind of keeps going and generates into other great things. So I'm going to turn this over to all of you. And if you have a question, go for it, or something to share, go for it. Don't everybody speak at one time. Well, is there anyone that this is their first session? Okay, everybody's been on. Oh, Diana, yeah.
So I just wanted to say, Beth, thanks for doing these because I didn't get a chance last week. I was busy finishing grades for marking period 3, but I found for Ag Mechanics for my online classes, I put together some different hyperdocs. And while I'm not like a master at them, I found it's something that really works for me because everything's linked there and then it can go back to wherever in Google Docs. We're using Canvas as our LMS. So everything can go back to, either a Google Doc or it can go to a Google Sheet if I want it. I've incorporated some Nearpods. So I did post one of them on Communities of Practice just to get it out there so people could see. And I used some templates, looked at various ones because I saw different ones that would meet the needs for like an ag mechanics, but then others that would meet the needs for like a natural resource management class. So I just put some of those together, and then I got a hold of Lincoln and talked to them, and also the AWS has some great resources on their site for welding and metalworking because that's kind of some of the areas that I'm focusing on in the upcoming weeks to try to finish out whatever you want to call enrichment to be, at least review of theory. So hopefully next year, going into my Ag Mechanics 3 course, my Ag Mechanics 2 kids will have some recall of some sort that we can maybe, entice them now and then jump in and not spend so much time in a classroom next year when it comes time to get to that unit. So.
That's good, Diana. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody have any questions for Diana?
Diana, what did Lincoln have to share with you specifically?
Well, I couldn't, the sad part was through all my notes, I couldn't remember Sarah's name, the young lady that we met at NAAE that did all the, she did a couple workshops. We met with her when we did the NAAE 2 years ago and did the little welding class we did out there. So I was trying to find her, and in reaching out, I found Rachel, who actually is on the West Coast, but she has, of course, they're trying to hook you up with all the free stuff or all the things that are free now, and then eventually there's subscriptions you have to pay for. But she did then remind me of the educational portal, which I was having trouble to get on, and she was helping me through that. So in the long run, I think it'll just be a good contact just to have those people. It's just been an organizational challenge to work through to keep things in the right spot so I can go back and find them. And because half of my stuff is still at school, I didn't think to grab some things, and we're not allowed in the building now. So, but modules that you can get on through AWS, and they can work through the safety modules. There's some, there are PowerPoints. The downside is they're pretty long. Some of them are 20 minutes long, and then they do a pre-test, they go through the content, which is mostly like a little slideshow, and then a post-test. And then in the end, it says certificate, but I haven't really gotten that far to see it. It shows that there's a certificate to be given. So if they don't provide it specifically and my students finish it, I'm just going to make something on Google Slides and send it out to each one of them.
Diana, what were the Nearpods like that you were finding? I have my students going through one today that I just created quick on like outdoor power equipment and what that industry looks like. But what kind did you come up with?
Oh, I was just using some of my own. I just took some slides and just dumped them in there and then created some of those question pages and just did those on my own because there really isn't anything in there.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. I'm hoping my students will participate today, so we'll see.
Good luck. It's good to see you.
Are you guys finding that you're having a lot of students participating, or is it kind of hit and miss? What's kind of what seems to be driving their participation if they are participating?
Self-motivation. And I was very disgruntled last week, so I got on the phone and started down my list. And interestingly enough, half of the kids that I called, if I did talk to a parent or a kid and didn't have to leave a message the first time, they said to me, "Oh, we didn't know we had to do marking period 3 stuff. We thought that was just for the core classes." And my administration made it very clear in a phone call and a letter. And I was just like, no wonder the kids are the way they are. They're just like their parents. They don't follow directions. So, but you get the handful that, at least in my experience, the handful that are really taking it to the top and doing everything. And then the other ones are just, I don't know, just like they're lost in the shuffle. We just have to keep calling and trying to remind them.
We're grading on a pass fail with mandatory live classes. So they kind of have a schedule they have to follow. Doesn't necessarily mean they're participating or doing the work, but so far I've probably had 85% of my kids show up to class on Tuesday and Thursday. So that's good. But I don't know how long that will stay, knowing that it's not the same as in class. Doing my best to demonstrate as I can when we're live, but that is a little challenging.
Yeah, this is the start of our second week of back to school. So before it was just enrichment activities, and now we've started into our last marking period. I guess by Friday, I probably had 80% participation, but it took them a long time. Some of them a long time to get on. They really waited till the last minute. So this week I'm tackling engine part identification, tool identification, and then the following week, I guess I should jump right into engine teardown and just kind of walk them through that. But I'm hoping for participation, but I'm trying to make it as interesting as possible. A lot of my students were concerned about it not being hands-on. So
that seems to be a concern everywhere. So you guys are able to go live then with it? Like you don't have to do pre-recordings, or like is it at the same time that it normally would be, or how are you guys managing all that?
Yeah, great question. I didn't explain that, but we're not live. And when I pulled my students to see when they were doing their schoolwork, it was all over the place. Some of them are working all day, so they're on in the evening. Some of them are on in the morning. Some of them are sleeping in. So it didn't seem like there was going to be an opportunity to get everyone on at the same time. So I'm pre-recording and then uploading.
We're running on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday is independent work time. Tuesday, Thursday is live class session with like a bell schedule. So they go from first period, down the line for a 45-minute live class time. If they don't come, we're not allowed to record it. So I just, upload any materials I have for them to do on their own time. But yeah, 8 o'clock is our first period, and that was a pretty early start for kids last week compared to what they've been used to. So we were pretty sleepy and it's hard to engage a class across a screen. So I think that's been my biggest challenge, and what I'm learning I'm missing most is like running around the room, getting everybody excited and that.
You can run around your room. That's okay.
I can, yeah.
That was one of my questions that I was going to ask you, is that do you think that it's beneficial to have the schedule? I kind of wish we did. Ours is just kind of open. If you want to Zoom, there's a schedule. You can sign up ahead of time, then send it to your kids. We've tried Zoom with our officers, and there's not a lot of chatter back and forth. It's really a struggle to get them discussing things. So I did a Zoom with my Ag Mechanics 2 kids with Caitlin, who's still finishing up student teaching, and nobody signed on. So we were a little frustrated, but then we just started reaching out in other ways. But I kind of wish we did have a schedule of some sort. I found that calling the kids, there were more kids that were working at fast food and at the grocery store than there were parents working away from the house.
That's interesting. I mean, it makes sense, but it's really interesting. I like hearing about how like each school is doing something different, and it helps us try to understand like how we can better support you guys if possible. So, and I realize we kind of steered away from Ag Mechanics there. Is there any Ag Mechanics topics that we want to dive into today, or look for resources or ideas?
I wanted to also say that this was like 2 weeks ago when I had a little bit more time to just peruse. Facebook has a California Ag Mechanics, it's either California Ag or California Ag Mechanics. You can link through there. And they actually, I was like, well, let's see if they'll let me in their little group. And they did. But they're doing a lot of things differently out that way, because their ag teachers were actually at their school and their shops and recording things as they were making them, and making some pretty huge things. And they were nice video recordings, but that might be something someone you might want to take a look at.
Is this the webpage that you were talking about, or the Facebook?
Yeah, it's the private one. So I just asked to sign up and they let me in.
Nice. Okay. We hopefully are releasing our repository tomorrow, and that was one of the links on it, so I quickly pulled it up. So I think most of you know that Tiffany Moria, grad student, has been putting together basically all the links that have been shared to us. Some of it's from teachers in Pennsylvania, some of it is just things that we've come across, and it's all one giant repository that we're going to email out in the newsletter, as well as I think we'll do like a listserv, and then we'll keep it in the newsletter for folks so they can use it. But anyway, so I happened to have it up and clicked on it real quick for you. So, well, I think
I have something, Beth. I'm hoping to, one of my projects this week is to develop a like home practicum choice board. We might have talked about this on Friday. I think Marty was on there. That are related to practicums we'd complete in any Ag Mechanics coursework. That if they can, if they have the resources at home, so tools, equipment, so on and so forth, they could demonstrate completing those practicums as an alternative to some of the assignments they're working, or in my situation, on an independent day. It could be anybody could use it any way they want. But so it could be like change the oil on your lawnmower, or fix your toaster. I don't know. I just thought maybe we can brainstorm some ideas to put on that choice board, and then we could share it out. I'd be happy to compile it and share it out. But I think I'm going to use that as an alternative assignment to give my kids who are really motivated by working with their hands an option to show me some skills on our independent days where they're working for 15 or 20 minutes on just some like supplemental material to build up. So any ideas?
Fix the leaky toilet. Like the running toilet, that's a big one for our house.
Janae, I think that was a good one about the toilet. I was thinking about like a dripping water faucet, but if they can't like specifically do it, or they don't have, in some cases, the money or the means to fix something, maybe they could just find a video online that they feel would be a good one and explain why. I don't know. To some of the kids would be, would love the hands-on, but then they're like, well, I don't have the means to do that, or my parents can't go get that for me, or whatever the case is.
This one's really minor, but it's something to do. Test the smoke alarms and like the CO2 alarms in your house. If they do have the resources, they could actually make like their own how-to video.
Yeah.
Reverse it on them a little bit.
They could measure the slope of an area outside for surveying if they, put the pegs in 2 different spots, and then, do something along those lines to determine like a waterway system or a water area problem or something.
They could measure like a wall, like they wouldn't have to do it, but they could figure out how to, like, let's say they're going to put shelves up in like a garage or something, and like, measure the wall, figure out how many shelves you can put up in that space, how big the shelves should be.
They could also figure out how much paint they would need if they wanted to paint the wall.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of switching gears, Janae, I had my kids this week. They're going to find any type of equipment that they have at their house and then determine the engine manufacturer and look up like the model serial number.
They could clean a fan, like a box fan, or that would be an easy one that most people have a screwdriver.
Or their ceiling fans.
Yeah. Actually, I did a how-to lesson when I was in Penn State as a teacher, or teacher training, whatever you call it. Anyway, I was how to clean a fan. Kind of along the same lines as how much like paint you would need. You could figure out like how much flooring you would need for, like, to replace the carpet in your home, or something like that.
I was just thinking of a safety one, like maybe they have tools that have never been used, or maybe they got tools from somewhere that they're in a pile in a garage or something. Maybe they just go through them and do their identification of the tools, power tools, and then do like an inspection of their safety. And, if it's a bad cord or something, they can identify, not necessarily fix it, but, in some cases they might be able to fix it, but maybe identify what unsafe tools they have around the house and kind of do an assessment kind of thing, okay, like we would do in a shop at the beginning of the year or end of the year. Power washing.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
They could check like the air pressure in their tires, like in their vehicles, maybe bicycles too, and
That's a pretty good list.
Draft some things up and I'll send it to you, Beth. You can pass it along to the Monday people.
Sure. I'd say also any kind of organization, like organizing the tools, organizing the garage, organizing a base for like safety and simplicity.
Yeah. Yeah, these are all good.
These are all
the things that we done in my house.
Getting them to sign onto the computer so I can know that they're even at home.
Well, that's Marty, why I actually started to call them, because I was worried some of them were gone. Like I didn't know where they were.
Some of mine thinks this is a great vacation and they refuse to do anything.
Well, unfortunately, their parents have something to do with that. And after I talked to parents, they were just like, "Oh, we didn't know," and I just thought, I just shook my head on the other end, and I thought, you're just letting them get out of anything, and then in the end, it'll be everybody else's problem in the future. But that's why I wanted to make the call. Beth, I went back to one of my websites. Do you have, or does Tiffany have the CTE Coalition on there? Because that's where I got some of my other Ag Mechanics AWS stuff from. And there's a site link on there for Caterpillar and Fabricators and Manufacturers Association.
No, she doesn't have that one. Can you,
Okay.
could you say in the chat box?
CTEcoalition.com.
Okay, CTE Coalition.com. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're still like, and as you guys have stuff, email it to her because she'll keep adding to it.
I got another one. Anybody on a normal day, normal school year, anyone teach diesel engines? And if so, how do you think we can do that online?
I teach diesel engines and I have not figured out how to do it online. Sorry. Just throwing that out there.
That's right. That's why we're here to talk. I told my husband, he's a truck driver. I said, you're going to be a guest speaker, I think, and we're going to bring the truck in and you're going to give us some demonstrations. But
yeah, use your best resource. I mean, you can't, unless you're tearing something down and
right.
putting it together. I mean, theory is the basis. So I think you have to start there and with parts, and
right.
You can do some Nearpod stuff or some, but the kids aren't going to be disappointed because they're not getting greasy and dirty, but
yeah.
We're limited.
Yeah.
They may connect more with it though, having your husband being someone in the field and more.
Yeah, I think they will be quite amused if he pop up on their screen as a guest speaker. But I told him he could become a YouTube sensation through this. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for him.
Absolutely. A retirement plan, right?
I'm perusing the internet here because I've been reading lots of stuff, like they come across your Facebook feeds. But Penn College has been doing a lot of their stuff online, obviously, and they have that diesel program there. So I was looking to see if they had any resources, or it would be cool to be able to tap into maybe some of their videos or things, but I'll hunt for that because I know I saw something. I just didn't read it that closely. And had another thing, Janae, for your list of like household things. They could, and this is like kind of gross but minor. They could like check out their parents' vacuum, and like get the bristles, increase the efficiency of it, I should say. So
Janae, on the CTE online website that I gave Beth a little bit ago, the Caterpillar has some online training modules that have videos and some different things. It says the curriculum consists of 18 courses, introductory. There's some free stuff on there. So also talks about some of the different career opportunities. So you could tie some of that in, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. That sounds like a good resource.
And I don't know, maybe like one of the projects could be create a resume that demonstrates your interest in diesel mechanics, and, you know, with identifying like some of the larger part of it being what skills do you need to have. And if you are going to be a diesel mechanic, maybe they don't have the skills now, but maybe they design the resume based on the skills that they need to have, so that it's showing that they did the research and they know a little bit more about, you know, what kind of things that they're going to need to do or need to be able to use.
Hey guys, Robin, can you hear me?
Hi, Robin.
Quick question. I was informed on Friday that I only have 4 days to teach ag mechanics for the rest of the year. So what 4 topics or things should I pick? Any suggestions?
What have you done so far?
Well, all we've done so far has been optional review, and with my ag mechanics kids, that meant we're not going to do anything. So I posted basically lots of review packets from AgEdNet, but they didn't do any of it. So I have essentially 4 days to fill. We were gonna take and build their chairs, their Adirondack chairs, at the end of the year here, but we're not in school. So I'm thinking some kind of like project cost calculation for one of the days.
I think Megan's identifying the engine manufacturer thing would be a good one. Most everybody has at least one engine around their house.
Yeah.
I'm finding short and sweet seems to be better. And so like the simpler it is, the more response I'm getting. Not that like is how I would normally do, but so today, or on Thursday in class, we talked about cooling and lubrication system. Today, they're looking up one oil additive and telling me 3 things about it on Flipgrid. It's gonna take them 15 minutes, but maybe you break up, like do one little quick thing from each engine system for a day.
Yeah, 15 minutes is our limit on our assignments.
Yeah, we're about the same. I'm supposed to provide 2 hours a week. So that ends up being like 15, 20 minutes a day. So I agree. Short, sweet. If they can do it with their hands and get it done in like 15, 20 minutes, those seem to be where I'm getting the best participation.
Robin, what grade level are these kids?
9 through 12.
Are you a ag mechanics zip code school?
No, we're just general.
You might want to take a look at the task grid for the ag general and see if there's any ag mechanics items on that you could try to incorporate. That would help make sure they're getting ready for the next step.
Yeah.
Somebody on, I don't remember what call I was on that talked about this last week or something, had thought about or brainstorming doing electrical circuits with string as like a hands-on way to diagram them, so it's not just drawing a picture. And that's probably something people have around their house. I don't know. If you're looking for a way to bring that in, if they've not done that before, that's kind of hard to do in one day. But if you're looking for a way to make them busy, like doing something tangible, could be interesting.
Thinking along those same lines, the electrical wiring diagrams that I created can be downloaded and then uploaded. If they're using iPads, I have the kids put them in Google Draw, and then they can change the different colors of their pens and then just save it and then either screenshot it or upload it to Google Classroom or Canvas. I don't know if they have that access or not, but that's something they could do, just a hands-on thing. But if they're not sure, if they don't have a basis, I'm not sure if they'd be able to do it without having a basic knowledge of how to do it.
Right.
I mean, they
No,
could use the internet to look it up, but
We did electrical wiring for a home working period, so they know that.
I guess the other thing you could think about is, what would your final be? So would it be a little bit of every unit? Is it a big project at the last unit you're on? Obviously it's not, you're not giving your final exam, but can you take bits and pieces of that and make that your last 4 days?
Right.
Robin, I don't know if you got on just recently or earlier, but I mentioned using Nearpod, and while it's not one of the, it's not the only answer, but you could use that as part of your, go through the different slides and then incorporate questions in there and just have it as your teach and learn option for that particular unit if you had to, or a review. And then you could check the report and see. Some of my kids actually went through and they said, oh, I did it. But when I checked the report, they actually went in and just must have clicked on it because it shows whether they went through the questions or not. So then you can at least tell if they actually did the questions. I don't know if you have to assess it all or not.
Yeah, we're doing pass fail, so.
So if they don't do it, then
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a question with ours. Like, we were told that the kids have to do all their classes, but then in the end, I think it's probably going to be if they just do their core classes, but we don't know that for sure.
Right now I have SketchUp scheduled for 2 of the days to try it, see if they can use that.
When is you have the next 4 days to teach it?
So it's every Friday.
John Seaman is doing a SketchUp webinar on Friday for the potluck. So if you need any, he's already has that in the works. So if that's helpful.
Yeah, we had talked last week about it.
Okay, then you're good.
But this gives me some ideas to work with and try and figure it out. So thank you.
Is anyone encouraging their students to do hands-on things at home, either with engines or, if you have this equipment, do this, or is anyone doing anything like that?
Only if they have had the class previously and I know that they've passed the safety test. Like if we had started the unit or something, or if it was something that I was sure that they were okay safety-wise, because I didn't want to put myself or them in a position and say, go do this, and then they end up getting hurt. And I also, I didn't require something specific, but if it was an optional choice and they chose it, that they had to make sure that their parents were on board with what they were doing.
That's good feedback. Thanks.
That came up in the NAAE's session for mag mechanics the other week, and I thought it was an interesting thought about like the liability that should you do something and then it comes back on you, whether that's a safety issue or a parent's mad because they've got like a vacuum in pieces that a kid had fixed. But there was I'm trying to remember who had it. It might have been Minnesota. One of the big Google Drive folders that had came out from National Buffet a few weeks ago, way back when, had a contract for home projects during digital learning. Now, I don't know how you go about collecting those in a timely or really fashion, but maybe you just say like, hey, if you're going to work on these things, you need to sign this and email it to me or send a picture or whatever. But yeah, that's an interesting point to bring up after coming up with those items for a choice board. Maybe that needs to be a part of that too. Get this signed first.
Yeah.
Our district is having a real problem with us having our kids do projects at home because of the liability. If we tell them to do this and they get hurt, are we liable personally, professionally? Is the school liable? So we're not pushing projects.
Okay, new topic or new things to talk about, or keeping the conversation going?
Can't think of anything else right now that I was doing. I mean, I did a hyperdoc on small gas engines earlier on. Easy to incorporate like videos and different things like that. Somebody wants, just ask and I can send it out to you, just so you can see my example. Then you can create your own or use what's there. And thing is, you have to, a lot of it, you have to link to your own documents, so you have to be careful with that.
Diana, is that something you can dump in the chat box?
I don't know how to do that.
You put the shareable link.
Oh, okay. Well, let me see. I'll try. I learn another technology piece every day, I think. So I just have to figure out how to do it here.
If the chat box isn't working, you can, or work for you, I should say, you can email it to me and I can email it to everyone.
Let me see. Get shareable link. Oh, that one. I'll find the right one. One of these days, I will organize my Google Drive as well, if that is ever possible. All right. Link. Let's see if it works. That's the edited version, so you want to make your own copy on that. I didn't change the thing there. That's the small gas engine one. And here's the metalworking one that I did. Okay, there's the two, just remember that it says edit at the end, so you'll have to make your own copy. Did it come through?
Mhm.
Okay. Did anybody get the email from Krista that she's having an ag business Zoom with Al Wenger at 11 o'clock? He's going to talk about ag business and COVID and some of the different interruptions to the ag business food chain. So if anybody's interested, I'm sure that she'll send you out the link if you contact her in the next couple minutes. I think it's like a half hour, 40 minutes kind of thing.
Well, if everybody is good, I don't want to rush you off by any means, but I also don't want to waste anyone's time. So if you have more questions or things to talk about, we'll keep going. If not, we'll end a few minutes early, and I can email out those links just so you guys have them in your email too.
Thank you, Beth.
Sure, no problem.
See you, everybody. Enjoy Earth Week.
Thanks, everyone.